Let's conclude with some important notes about hypothesis testing for variance. Tests for variances assume that the data comes from a population that has a normal distribution. We saw this before when we were looking at confidence intervals for variance. Remember that the central limit theorem applies to sample means and sample proportions, but does not apply to sample variances. So a large sample variance does not say that we have, a large number of samples does not mean that we necessarily have a chi-square distribution for the variances. So using the chi-squared test statistic for one sample test for variances or the F-test statistic for two sample tests for variances is not valid when the population is not very close to the normal distribution. So tests for variances are not used very frequently in applied settings and must be used cautiously. So you need to know that your data comes from a population that has a normal distribution, regardless of sample size, in order to apply one of these tests. The second thing is that for the chi-square distribution, do not round down the degrees of freedom. Unlike the t distribution and the f distribution, the critical values for the chi-square distribution increase instead of decrease as the degrees of freedom increase. So for the chi-square distribution, you have to round up to the closest degrees of freedom. Below are a couple extra homework problems that you will need to complete as part of your assignment.